Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flicks reviews of Game of Thrones, but this is a preview of Game of Thrones. John Idarola, Brett Ehrlich.
It would be presumptuous to review it right now.
What if we just did?
This is what we know a lot about Game of Thrones. We could probably do it.
It came in a vision.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do today is kind of do a preview of what's happening. What we're gonna do today is kind of review what happened last season, because so often there's such a gap between the previous season and the new season that it's just enough time for you to utterly forget everything that happened.
And this was a longer gap than there have been in previous years.
Right, it's usually like an April.
Yeah, so we're several months extra. So yeah, I've been going back through the last season to sort of refresh my memory. I'd forgotten a lot. I still haven't finished it, so I'm gonna forget a few things. But yeah, it's easy to forget a lot, and we've had multiple trailers now. There's a lot going on, so we're gonna make some predictions about what we think is gonna happen to some of the different groups and people throughout the season.
So how does this sound? We'll do a review of what happened,
okay,
a preview, and then we're gonna ask you guys to give your predictions of what's gonna happen this season, and then Jake's gonna do a video, I think with you maybe, and some other folks.
I think next week, yeah.
Next week in the lead up to this next season. So where are we at? Let's start with Cersei. Cersei has assumed the Iron Throne.
Yes.
Spoiler alert, watch another video, because a lot's gonna come out.
Yeah, well it's a preview for the next season. It implies that, yeah.
So Cersei has lit fire to the sept.
Yeah.
And gone are Marjorie, and then her Uncle Kevin, and a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean a lot of the nobility of the city, but also the High Sparrow and all of his attendants. So that whole religious thing is basically done, I guess.
Yes, and now
unless somebody else picks up the, no, it's done.
No one is there. All that's left in King's Landing is essentially Cersei. No more kids. Gold are their shrouds officially.
Yes,
and
because of course Tommen killed himself. After seeing the explosion.
He had that beautiful view of a nice green explosion and nothing to live for, so he just walked out a window.
Yeah.
And now it's just Jaime and Cersei.
Yeah.
And who else?
No more being the power behind a king and having to cater to them. She now has it.
Yeah, so it's, and Qyburn and the Mountain.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Daenerys is leading an armada toward Westeros.
Yeah, and it looks like they had, I guess they were somewhere near, I think Dorne when we left off. But a gigantic armada, Varys was now back with them. So it's the fleet of that was stolen from the Iron Islands combined with both the Dothraki and the Unsullied. And yeah. So we don't know exactly where they're going to land, but from the trailers we have some ideas, which we'll get to.
Question mark kind of swirling, where's Euron, the uncle who pushed Theon and Yara's father into the, off and killed him.
Yeah.
And so we don't know where he is.
And then was going to kill Theon and Asha.
But they ran away.
Yeah, so the last we see is them running away with the fleet, and then he yells at the 7 other people there because the Iron Islands suck and their world doesn't make sense. Go make ships, but they have like 5 trees on the islands. And I'm assuming we're gonna see some magic whereby he has a fleet of ships now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know where it came from and why they didn't do it before.
Because the CGI people just have to hit copy paste, copy paste.
So they're gonna have a big fleet, and we know that he has some tricks up his sleeve from his wanderings around the globe.
Right.
But he's probably going to be following, I assume now, Daenerys' fleet, I would imagine.
They got 3 dragons. They've got Varys and Tyrion, so they got the brain trust there. That's a really solid team.
Yeah, which also, especially with Varys, then theoretically ties them to other houses in the 7 Kingdoms. I mean, like you now have the intrigue possibilities that Varys can find supporters and things like that.
Right, and
because not everybody's gonna want to stand against dragons.
Yeah. Oh God. I mean, that's awesome.
And he had the connection to the Martells. True.
And then there is the King in the North, Jon.
Yes.
Who is not, Jon has died, so he's no longer responsible for his life debt to the Night's Watch.
Yeah.
And so he is now back home, having beaten Ramsay Bolton. He has now taken control of Winterfell, and he is king of the North.
I think Pip is in control of the Night's Watch, I think, but I'm not 100% sure.
Good.
But yeah,
nice
they finally have Winterfell.
Leader like Pip.
Exactly, a guy with a name like Pip, who I'm pretty sure is a hobbit. Yes, so they have control, yeah.
And then Sansa.
Well, and with Littlefinger having helped at the last second with the Knights of the Vale.
So that's a big question mark. Littlefinger, you never know where he's coming from. He's kind of sworn his allegiances. to Catherine, to Lady Catherine, Sansa's mom, and that seems to be his romantic infatuation his whole life, and it's kind of bled over into Sansa, but the question with Littlefinger is you never really know what side he's really on.
I mean, it seemed like if there was anything moral to him, it was that he felt this obligation to Catelyn and to Sansa, and yet he allowed her to be brutalized and raped and possibly killed. Like he was willing to do that.
Which is, I don't buy it at all after that. And then what else? Arya. The other Stark children, the two remaining other Stark children, are Arya and Bran. Arya has just killed Walder Frey, right?
Oh my God, I completely forgot about. Oh my God, I completely forgot about that.
Arya
I haven't refreshed the season. I'm so excited to watch that again.
Okay, so Arya had. Oh wow, you forgot.
Now I remember the scene. That was a great scene.
Right. So you had. That's fantastic. I rewatched it a couple weeks ago, so I'm not really rewatched up to now. And there's so much that happened at the end of last season.
Yeah.
But yes, she had this really long ritual of names that she had to probably like take a minute to remember everyone she wanted to kill, and now there's like one name.
Well, the big one is Cersei, yeah.
And that's all that's left.
Yeah, there have been some people in the mountains thing, but they killed 1 or 2 of them. Yeah, and so she's back after her 50 years of training, or 7 seasons of training.
Yeah.
So she's back, and look, it looks like Bran is on the cusp of joining up with, at the very least, the Night's Watch, if not Jon and all that.
Yeah.
So I think that's most of it.
Sam's at the Citadel.
Yes.
Gaining information.
Yeah.
And he's got his little boy and girl in tow. And then the backdrop of this, the big looming question mark is the White Walkers, the Night's King. What's happening with that?
Yeah.
And then one thing we forgot to mention is Jon Snow is the offspring of Rhaegar and Lyanna.
Some people foolishly believe that.
That's what they said. We just proved that. Remember?
Well, we don't know for sure.
The vision that, I mean, it's pretty, okay, it's pretty
clear.
Every way they presented it led us to believe absolutely this is the grand revelation.
Yeah, probably.
And it's a secret, but come on.
Well, so
they know.
So I was expecting that they would just reveal it last year. I was a bit disappointed that they didn't. And it seems like one of 3 things is gonna happen to finally reveal it.
Yes.
Either Bran is gonna meet up with him and tell him, which seems like the most likely. Like if I had to put my money, it'd be on that because he's like a day away from Winterfell at this point. It's possible that somehow Daenerys might know. One theory that another person has is that he will be confronted by one of the dragons and the dragons will be able to, like they did with Daenerys, detect his Targaryen blood and like defer to him. And then he rides it or something.
Or he's just gonna have to like in the moment fight something difficult and have that superhero moment where like flames shoot out of his hands.
I guess, but
and
I
he's
wouldn't
like,
prove the Targaryen thing.
Or he'll be like covered in fire.
That's true.
And just walk out and be like, whoa, that's amazing.
Ooh. He knows Kung Fu.
So
that's possible. I think that we don't get through this next season without that being clear, I don't think.
Okay, so let's do predictions now.
Okay.
What do you think's gonna happen?
Just in everything?
Let's talk, yeah, where do you want to start?
Okay, so we've got 2 seasons left for everything that needs to happen. The seasons are shorter, although the episodes are gonna be long. Some of them are gonna be like movies apparently.
Yes, which is amazing, which is so impressive.
And they said that they're going to be cutting out, like they don't need to sort of pad it a little bit now. Like everything will be advancement and plot and all that. And so the question is, what happens this season and what takes until next season? Like, we see shots from the trailer of Daenerys at Dragonstone. Like she's gonna retake the island that she was born on. But does she stay there till the end of the season? Does she fight Cersei this season? Does she get to the wall this season? There's very different thresholds for what she could accomplish.
So what has to happen? The final fight that has to happen is man versus former man.
Yeah, man
White
versus
Walker.
cold man.
Yes. So warm-blooded versus cold-blooded animals. So that seems like the final season to me.
I think so. But my question with that is it just like the whole season is everybody is against the White Walkers, or are there still multiple factions? I mean, does Cersei and the Lannisters survive to be another force in that? Or are they conquered this season? Are the Greyjoys destroyed this season? Or are they still around? Like I think the Targaryen, I think that Cersei versus Daenerys is going to be half of this season. And I think it ends with Cersei and the Lannisters are done.
Are just absolutely done.
I would like to see that.
Jaime,
and Cersei
I feel like
Cersei's gonna meet a terrible end.
In that Tyrion dies.
No.
By Jaime's hand.
Why?
And then they're all, just because, think about that, that conflict. It was Tyrion and Jaime were together in trying to get Tyrion out amid the, issues brought up by Cersei and the father. And so Jaime said, here, go. And then there was that betrayal by Tyrion killing the father.
Yes.
Jaime, when faced with that, can't do it again. I think we have enough time left over where as much mental math as you want to do to create that perfect arc, like something seemingly stupid and random will end up killing someone that a lot of us had as like our core group, like our big three.
I think Tyrion lives until the end. I don't know if he lives past the end, but I think Daenerys, Jon, Tyrion live to the end. Tyrion is the most likely out of those three to die before the end. But I don't, as much as, man, Game of Thrones really teaches you to stop thinking that people have plot armor.
Yeah.
But I still think that he does. I think that Tyrion might end up having to kill Jaime. I don't think he'll kill Cersei. I think that that's gonna go to either Arya or Daenerys or Dragon or something like that. But
Arya's gonna die.
If Tyrion died, look, if they wanna shock people this season, Tyrion dying would be the way to do it.
Or Arya dying.
I could see Arya dying.
Arya's gotten a lot. Like the Assassin's game is not batting 1,000. The Assassin's game is you're gonna make a mistake every now and then.
You think maybe like Cersei kills Arya?
I don't know.
Like
Cersei
Arya
killed a lot of
tries
people.
to kill her?
I thought the Taquito Queen, AKA Marjorie Tyrell, was unstoppable.
I did not see that coming.
She was smart enough.
She was smart and she had her grandma. But they couldn't save her.
It's all, I don't know.
That's true, and they had built her up to be this huge character. So the fact that they were willing to kill her, I mean, maybe Tyrion does die. I think that Arya, because like she didn't follow through with her training, she's got this like sort of mixed life. Like I think she could still die. Maybe she's willing to die to kill Cersei or something like that.
Do you think the good guys are gonna win? And who are the good guys?
I think the good, well, I mean, I think the good guys in the end will be Jon, Daenerys, and Tyrion riding on 3 dragons. And I think that they will win, but I think lots of people will die, and I think that the world will be devastated.
Right now, it's so loaded on the good guys' side. In my opinion,
that's true.
The Lannisters are the bad guys. They've just made so many karmic mistakes along the way, and those who made no karmic mistakes and paid for being noble have gotten enough scar tissue where they know where not to go wrong. But looking at this Cersei verse, Daenerys, all the Greyjoy ships, the Dothraki horde, the dragons, and then what would seem obvious, the Martells.
Because I'm pretty sure we saw at the end that some of the ships had the Martell symbol on them.
And then we had the meeting with Varys and the Martells together. So though the sneak aspect of the Martells, the Sand Snakes, is really great paired with Varys' ability to get people places. And then you have, I mean, just everything else. The Tyrells behind them. And then the obvious.
Not yet. I mean, maybe.
Probably.
It looks like the grandma's obviously, she will want to take down Cersei if that's the last thing she does.
Right.
And allying with Daenerys is probably the best way to do that. I think you're right that the bad guys have it really bad right now, and that can't continue.
Right.
The complicated thing in terms of like, if I was George R.R. Martin and I wanted to make it more balanced, what do you do at this point? Like people think, okay, there's gonna be an ice dragon. I agree, there'll probably be an ice dragon. But you've got Cersei.
I didn't think that, that's a really great idea.
I think there's gotta be an ice dragon, or multiple ice dragons. But there's the problem is that Cersei can't enter into an alliance with the Night's King.
No.
Like Euron can't enter into an alliance with the Night's King. Maybe Euron and Cersei. Like I think that that's gonna be the conflict for most of this season is Euron and his fleet. There's shots from the trailer of his fleet coming in. I think they're gonna attack the Tyrells or something like that. And then there's Cersei and her forces. but they're not with the other bad guys. So how do they possibly stand up? Like they need something else. Something else has to go on their side.
I don't know what it is.
And it's not gonna be the Tyrells.
Littlefinger double crosses. Littlefinger
maybe
kills Jon but he's already died.
Yeah.
Why would you kill him
You
twice?
wouldn't kill Sansa. Maybe Sansa, because Sansa's gonna like become Jon's Littlefinger, kind of. I think. I honestly don't know what is going to even things out at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some kind of sinking ship. The Dothrakis just start pillaging uncontrollably.
They get really seasick.
I wonder if the same kind of issues that that Daenerys had at Meereen bleed over into having to handle all these different factions within her life. But
maybe they get out of control.
With Jon, there's going to be some kind of familial recognition, and they just say, "Wow, we should be on the same side."
Yeah.
And there's enough people who are just would look around and say, "Just give me some sovereignty over my land. Go do what you want to do."
I don't think she'll do that.
Daenerys,
she wants the 7 kingdoms.
She wants the 7
think
kingdoms,
that you're
but
onto
she's
something.
also practical as all hell.
She is. Dorne will probably still want to be relatively independent like they are now. I do think that landing with Dothraki and Unsullied, there was a quote earlier that you'll be seen as a foreign invader. There's still a chance of that. Maybe the Tyrells go against her because it's a foreign invader. Maybe that could even things out a little bit.
Right.
And I could totally see the Dothraki doing like rampaging through and lots of people turning against her, I guess. But she's got dragons. Who's going to stand up to that?
No one. I don't know. What other predictions? Any others, or is that as far as we're getting?
No, there's probably going to be more. I mean, I do think one great scene we're going to have is I think that Jon, Bran, Sansa are going to be together. Possibly Arya, although probably not this season. But I mean, we're going to have as many Starks together as we've had since the first season. So I think that that's going to be something. I think that the Greyjoys, Euron's fleet. There's some predictions I could make that are sort of spoilers, so I won't from the books.
Okay.
Because even though the plot has gone beyond the books, there are a few things that they didn't do that I'm sort of seeing some glimmers of. So I'm not going to make some predictions with the Greyjoys and the Tyrells and that whole thing, but I could.
I definitely see a scurvy arc on those ships. It's just a lot of scurvy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, there's some things from the trailers that I think are worth mentioning. Like we see Jon apparently north of the wall. We don't know what that's about. Why is he going north of the wall? Or is the snow going farther south?
I think that's what's happening. I think
so?
winter has come, and so it's blanketing.
That's possible.
And they never really explain what happens. Is winter completely, symbolic, or does it actually get cold? I feel like it actually gets cold, and it starts to come south, further and further south, and so they get more and more on their back foot in terms of fighting against this threat.
So. It's going to spread, I think. Yeah, maybe. I mean, look, right now the Night King doesn't seem to have much, but if he takes over a whole bunch of armies, basically turns them into the armies of the dead, that might be something. There was a speech of Jon Snow saying, other two families have always fought. I can't do the thing like you can, but he's like talking about we've always been enemies and now we need to come together. The question is, who is he talking?
Yeah.
Or that we've always fought against the common foe or something. I thought it might be the Targaryens, but I don't know too much the connection between those two sides.
I think they've been against each other ever since Rhaegar was the one who raped his aunt Lyanna, and
That's true.
They started an entire war.
Over that.
Like that was the central reason for the war, but who knows? It's one of those things like they used to do in Mad Men, when Mad Men would be like, next time on Mad Men, it would just be a bunch of random clips. That's what this felt like. It was like, oh, I know, it's just a montage, it's a teaser, and it's doing a really great job.
So really fast, just to sum up, who doesn't make it through this season?
People who don't make it through the season, I think it's Arya. I think it's Theon.
I could see that.
I think it's
he's sort of renewed himself. Now he can die, I think.
I think it's the Mountain.
Yeah, I think the Mountain will die.
The Mountain will die by
the Mountain will like fight a dragon.
Because his brother's still around. He's still putzing around. The Hound is still putzing, isn't he?
Remember he got beaten in one of the most brutal fight scenes against Brienne of Tarth.
Yeah, but
and then he was left to die by Arya.
No, but he's officially back because he's with the Brotherhood Without Banners.
Yeah, I've got that.
Yeah,
that's true. I'm trying not to spoil things because I remember more from the books right now.
Got it. Well, that's happened. So I think that happens.
Yeah, that's true.
And I really think that's Mira. Mira's dead.
You think? But Tyrion? You think he dies?
Tyrion dies in the final season.
Does Cersei die this season?
Cersei does not die. Cersei dies this season at the end of the season.
I think that Cersei's
penultimate episode.
Look, you had the Joffrey death, you had the Ramsay Bolton death. Walder Frey to some extent. I think people are ready for Cersei to die.
She might be like exiled in some really embarrassing way.
You can't trust her.
I think that she gets eaten by a dragon.
I think that she gets eaten by a dragon.
Oh, that'd be great.
I think it'll happen.
I'm gonna miss her, but that'll be great.
I'm gonna miss her. She's great. You know, she's got sort of like a Robin Wright thing going on now, but I still think she dies.
Really, a story that just came out was that a lot of people yell shame at the actress who plays it, and so she just had a baby and was nursing, and her nurse that was helping her, just started yelling shame, and she was so like out of it from the birth that she thought it was hilarious, but like her nurse was yelling shame at her while she was breastfeeding her newborn baby.
That's gonna follow her the rest of her life.
Also, I don't know if it's that good, but there's a Hodor themed Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial from Britain where everyone's saying like chicken and fries, and he's like chicken and fries, and then he gets like confused and then goes chicken and rice. Do they
serve chicken and rice?
Introduce their new chicken and rice dish. It's insane. Okay, so
that's my prediction, is that Hodor will eat chicken and rice. Oh, that's a random prediction. Does Hodor come back?
I don't know if Hodor comes back. What I'm interested in seeing is the arc of Bran, because there seems to be some time bending in there, and so can a Bran intervention at a certain key point fix it all? And will that feel like a strange cop out? Because he can go back in time and affect stuff. So
he can.
No one
in a limited way. Yeah, I don't know what you do with him at this point. I think that Hodor will come back as a White. I think you'll see him in zombie form, and it's gonna be really sad.
It's gonna be there and have to kill him again.
Probably.
I'm fine with that. And so that's it for our predictions. We wanna know what you guys think. Give your predictions in the comment section below, and then next week, John, Cenk, a few others, maybe myself, are going to respond to those predictions, pick some that they like, and then also give their predictions. Maybe there'll be another trailer between now and then, and that will be the final pre-show before the new season starts July 16th. On HBO Sunday at whatever time, but you're probably gonna HBO Go it anyway. Thank you for watching. On behalf of John and myself, we'll see you next time on What the Flick.